Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands. In this video we are playing Warhammer 40k in a 500 points match that sees Adepta Sororitas vs Necrons. I'm Simone and I will play the Sisters.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I will play the Necrons. Before we started, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back. If you are not subscribed yet and want to help us, join our growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys.
Today's mission is Incisive Attack. The two armies will have to deploy within these two areas. There are 4 objectives and they are arranged in this way. When a player controls an objective, it remains in his possession, even if he has no models within range of it. As secondary objectives, Sisters have chosen Slay the Warlord, Sacred Ground and Defend the Shrine, while the Necrons have Slay the Warlord, Attrition and Purge the Vermin. Both armies start with 3 command points.
Let's move on to the description of the armies. The Necrons army on planet Hesperia is now fully active. Almost all the small Imperial settlements have been destroyed, and the larger cities will be the next target to fall to ensure the complete control of the planet. But there is only one problem. A detachment of the Adepta Sororitas got in the way to try to slow the advance of the droids. My Necrons belong to the Nephrak dynasty, which gives my units a 6+ invulnerable save and allows them to translocate, which makes them ignore all obstacles when advancing or disengaging and automatically add 6 inches to the movement characteristic when they advance. The leader of this army is the Overlord, equipped with Ward Sight and Resurrection Orb. As general trait, I chose the Dynasty 1 Skin of Living Gold, which gives a -1 to every hit roll made against the Overlord. The relic I gave him is Sempiternal Weave, which gives the bearer +1 toughness and wounds characteristics. Then we have a Royal Warden, equipped with Relic House Blaster, who will try to thin out the enemy units from the distance. The first core unit of this army is composed of 5 Immortals armed with Gauss Blasters. Next in line we have 10 Necron Warriors armed with Gauss Reaper, a short-range weapon that can deal massive damage. Then we have 3 Scorpack Destroyers. With their weapons, they should be able to tear through the enemy armor with ease. Accompanying the Scorpack is a Canoptech Plasma Sight, which will be used to buff the Destroyers.
The Necron threat on planet Hesperia is growing day by day, and enemy units are moving undisturbed into Imperial territory. The time has come to face them in battle and send them back to the graves they came from. My Sisters are part of the Order of the Argent Shroud, which allows my units to count as stationary after moving or advancing. Plus, whenever one of my units fires or fights, I can reroll a hit or wound roll. Leading this detachment is the Canoness with Plasma Pistol and Power Sword. As a general trait, I chose Righteous Rage. She will be able to reroll all hit and wound rolls in melee attacks. As a relic, I chose Mantle of Ophelia, which reduces the damage of any attack made against her to 1. Then there are 2 Battle Sister squad of 5 models each. The only difference between the 2 units is that one of the Sister Superior is armed with Power Sword and the other with Chainsword. To protect the Canoness there is a Celestian squad with a Simulacrum Imperialis that allows the unit to execute an Act of Fate even if another unit in my army has already performed one in the same phase. Next on the list there are the Sisters Repentia. This is the squad who will have to take care of eliminating the enemy Scorpacks in close combat. Leading the Repentia is the Repentia Superior, who has abilities that can empower the unit and make sure they reach the target of the charge as soon as possible. Then there is the Seraphim squad. The Superior has a Plasma Pistol and a Power Sword. 2 Seraphim have 2 Ministorum Hand Flamers each, while the last 2 Seraphim have 2 Bolt Pistols each. Finally, there is the Penitent Engine. I'll need him to try and take out the Necron Overlord.
Considering that the Sisters are not that strong in shooting, I haven't bothered too much about deploying my units in cover. I put the Scorpacks behind the container so that they can reach anyone on Objective 2, and at the same time, they are hidden from enemy sight. The rest of the army is distributed along the edge of the deployment zone, with the Warriors in the center to control Objective 3, and the Immortals together with the Warden in cover in the ruins.
For the deployment, I decided to divide the army into 2 parts. The right flank consists of the Celestian squad and the Penitent Engine. I deployed them hidden behind the container to give them cover from the Necron's fire. On the other side instead we have the rest of the units, accompanied by the Canoness and the team of Sisters Repentia. Objective 4 is already under my control and the Sister squad is ready to take the action on the marker. My Seraphim squad instead is deployed in support. They will drop from the skies in the second round and bring fire and flames with them.
After the deployment, I have to select an objective marker to be the Sacred Shrine marker of Simone's secondary objective, Defend the Shrine. Since almost all the Sisters are deployed towards Objective 2, I choose Objective 1.
Rolling for initiative, blue dice for the Sisters and grey dice for the Necrons. I've never been so happy to roll such a low number.
Damn, I would have preferred to start second. It's fine though. First turn.
Rolling to establish the result of my first miracle dice. Okay, 4 is a nice one.
This game, the Protocol of the Sudden Storm, is active for all the rounds. It gives all my units +1 to the movement characteristic. In addition, the first turn is also active the Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant, Directive 1, which adds 3 inches to the range of all my Oros abilities. This turn I don't think I will be able to do a lot and I don't want to expose my units too much, but first thing first. The Overlord does his action my will be done on the Immortals since they are the only base unit that can shoot. Until my next command phase, they have a +1 to hit. Then, in the movement phase, the Scorpex and the Plasma Side translocate, meaning that they automatically advance 6 inches and ignore every obstacle. With a total movement of 16 inches, they reach the center of the battlefield. The Overlord does the same as the Scorpex, but stops behind the building. The Warriors move 7 inches forward and wait for Sun Sister to reach the objective 2. On the other side, the Royal Warden moves forward but remains in cover, and the Immortals follow him to have a better view on the Sisters. The Immortals start a shooting phase by aiming at the Sister squad near objective 4 and shoot 5 shots at 2+. Well, not a good start. Wounding with 3 for the highest strength. Both wound.
I have 2 wounds to defend. To be sure, I use my miracle dice to defend 1 and roll the second dice. Nope, that's a 1. The first sister leaves the battlefield. That was fast.
The Warden aims to the same target as the Immortals and shoots 2 shots at 3+. Hitting 1, wounding with 3+, missed, and that's my first turn.
Andrea's first round was pretty painless. Now it's my turn. First, the Repentia Superior uses her ability to whip the Sisters Repentia. Thanks to this, both can charge even after advancing and can add 1 dice to their charge roll and then discard 1. The first to move is the Penitent Engine and it can reach a good place next to the radio tower. The Celestians advance and they roll a 2. With so little movement I prefer to leave them in cover behind the container. The Sisters Repentia advance and... oh, okay, I see. The 2 is recurring. I place the unit near the central building. The Repentia Superior is little more successful and does 4. Next to the wall, it is certainly safer. To search for the cover, the first squad moves to the left while remaining in control of the objective. The second squad instead advances and with a fantastic 5 manages to reach the objective 2 by taking control of it. The Canoness is the last to move and positions herself behind the wall. At the end of the movement phase, I use 2 command points for the stratagem Defenders of the Faith, thanks to which the sisters next to Objective 2 can use the rapid-fire weapons as if they were at short range. In addition, any wound rolls against them of less than 4 fail. Also, the sister squad next to Objective 4 begins to perform the action on the marker for Sacred Ground. In the shooting phase, thanks to the Order's rule, the Penitent Engine opens the dance by firing the 2 Ministorum Heavy Flamers against the Scorpex. 2d6 hits. 7 shots. Being Flamers, they hit automatically. With Strength 6 and Toughness 5, they wounded 3. 4 wounded.
With -1 penetration, the Scorpex saved with 4+. Just 2. 1 wound left to this little guy.
The Celestians take up the bolt guns and after spotting the Immortals, they fire on them. Only 3 of them are in range, so that's 3 shots at 3+. 2 hit. With Strength 4 and Toughness 5, I need 5. Never mind. The sisters next to Objective 2 fire on the warriors in front of them. Thanks to the stratagem, they can make 10 shots at 3+. 7! Not bad! Same strength and toughness, 4 to wound. Only 2.
No penetration, so saving with 4+. Obviously. When any of my models die, if the unit is not destroyed, I can roll for the reanimation protocols. I roll a number of dice equal to the combined wounds characteristic of all the reassembly models, in this case 2. And with 5+, they come back to life, rolling 2d6 at 5+. Just 1, meaning that 1 warrior is destroyed.
Now comes the interesting part. Sisters Repentia charge the Scorpex. They need 5+ to reach them. I roll 3 dice and discard 1. 6! One by one the Repentia come in close combat with the Scorpex. I also need the Penitent Engine to charge the Scorpex to be sure of taking them out, and it needs 9. 6! Not enough! I use a command point to reroll the dice. 7! Oh, pity. It was almost there.
I spend 1 command point for the stratagem Whirling Onslaught. Each time an attack is made against the Scorpex, subtract 1 to the wound roll of that attack.
Sisters Repentia start the fight by making 8 attacks at 4+ against the Scorpex. Okay, this was a terrible dice roll. Luckily, the Repentia, if they charged, can reroll failed dice. 3 hit. I was hoping for a few more. Thanks to the Repentia superior ability, this unit has a +1 to wound, so with strength 6 and the stratagem used by Andrea, I can wound at 3+. All 3. Cool.
-3 penetration, so saving with 6. Ouch! 2 wounds every attack, so this means that 2 Scorpex are dead. Reanimation protocols, roll in 6d6, and every 3-5+, a model comes back to life. Unfortunately, I rolled just a 6 and a 5, meaning that both the Scorpex stay dead. There they go. The last Scorpex responds with 3 attacks at 3+ on the Repentia. Hitting all! Strength 7 and toughness 3, he wounds with 2+. All wound.
3 wounds to save at 6 thanks to invulnerability. Only 1 is saved. I can attempt to ignore wounds at 5+. Each attack has 2 wounds, so I roll them separately. The first sister sadly died. And the second too. If I hit with more attacks they would survive and the Scorpex would be dead. In the moral phase, the units that have lost models are the Sister Squad and the Sisters Repentia, but both have high leadership and pass the test automatically.
Same for the Scorpex and the Warriors. With leadership 10, they don't need to test. Well, maybe I made a mistake when I advanced with the Scorpex, but honestly, if the Resurrection Protocol wasn't that terrible, it would have been a good move. Anyway, it's not a problem. The unit is still alive, and in the next turn, I have the chance to deal serious damage to the Sisters.
My turn could have gone much better, especially during the charge and combat phases, but all in all I managed to eliminate 2 Scorpex and it's already a good result. Also, I took control of Objective 2. This gives me the advantage. I'm quite satisfied. Now I have to be able to resist Andrea's next round. At the start of the turn, I get a new miracle dice, and the result is 3. Okay, not really useful.
In the second turn is active the Protocol of the Eternal Guardian, Directive 2. Each time an enemy unit declares a charge, my units can either hold steady and hit Overwatch at 5+ instead of 6, or set to defend, and add +1 to the hit roll. Also, I gain 5 victory points for the control of Objective 3. In the command phase, my Overlord uses the Orb of Resurrection on the Scorpex to try and reanimate at least 1, so I rolled 6 dice for the reanimation protocols. And again, just 2 5s are not enough to reanimate. The Overlord then uses his ability My Will Be Done on the Warriors to give them a +1 to hit. The Warriors move forward within 3 inches from Objective 2 and secure it. The Plasma Sight translocates back behind the building and the Scorpex disengage, following his friend. The Overlord instead moves towards the Sister Repentia, waiting to charge them. On the other side, both the Warden and the Mortals move behind the ammo crates to secure Objective 1. The Warden aims his blaster to the Penitent Engine and being in short range shoots 4 shots at 3+, hitting only 2. To avoid missing more important shots, I spend 1 command point for the stratagem Techno-Oracular Targeting, which makes him automatically wound the target.
I need to do 6 to save it. Nope, it didn't work. Luckily I can ignore wounds on 5+. Out of 4 dice, only a 5. I have to change this dice. 2 wounds left at the Penitent Engine. That's not good.
Nice! Now the Mortals, which to optimize the attacks, split their shots between the Celestial Squad and the Penitent Engine, starting with the 2 models behind who aim to the Penitent, making 4 shots at 3+. Hitting all! Same strength and toughness, wounding with 4. 3 hits!
3 more dice at 6. It didn't defend this time either. I can ignore wounds at 5+. F5 is not enough. 2 wounds pass and the Penitent Engine disassembles. It's hard to defend a body without armor. Poor boy.
Perfect! Now, the other 3 Mortals who aim to the Celestial Squad, making 6 shots at 3+. 4 hit! High strength, so wounding with 3. 3 hit!
I assign the wounds to the model in cover, then roll the dice 1 at a time at 4+. The first one is saved. The second one too. There you go, the sister is saved.
On the other side of the battlefield, the Warriors aim to the Sister Squad contesting Objective 2 and make 18 shots at 2+ thanks to the Overlord's ability. 5 miss. Amazing. Wounding with 4 because of Simone's stratagem. 6 out of 18 shots. You truly are battle droids.
Saving with 6 dice at 3+. I saved 3 of them. That means that 3 other sisters fell under the blows of the Necrons. Sorry girls, there's nothing I can do for you.
Charge phase. The Overlord charges the Repentia, and with 6, he reaches them easily. Then I need the Sister Squad on objective 2 gone, so I charge with the Warriors too. And with that 10, they definitely arrive in combat with them. Let's start the combat phase with the Warriors. They make 9 attacks and same as before, they hit with 2+. 7 hit, wounding with 4. Just 4.
I need 3+ to save. Another dead sister. If nothing else, the unit is still in game thanks to the last survivor. The Sister Superior is armed with a power sword and fights by making 2 attacks at 4+. Rerolling a dice thanks to the Order's rule? Nope, the attacks definitely missed.
Overlord's turn to fight. He makes 4 attacks at 2+. Hitting 3. The strength is the double of the toughness, so wounding with 2. 3 wounds.
The Repentia have invulnerability at 6. Not even 1. 5+ to ignore wounds, rolling the attacks 1 by 1. No, the first Repentia is eliminated. Oh, the second one is still alive! Come on, you can do it! Oh no! You almost did it! Sister's Repentia grants a miracle dice when eliminated, rolling to see the result. 4 is good. You did what you could. Good job. The Sister Squad left with only one model has to take the morale test. To be sure of passing it, I use my miracle dice with a value of 3. The test is successful.
At the end of my turn, I gain 4 victory points for the secondary objective Purge the Vermin.
At the start of the turn, I score 5 victory points for the objective I control, plus another point for the secondary objective Sacred Ground. The Celestians advance, and with a 3 they manage to reach objective 1 by taking control of it. The Canoness and the Sisters move forward towards the enemy, ready to charge into the warriors whenever possible. At the end of the movement phase, the Seraphim squad arrives on the battlefield, deploying 9 inches from the Immortals. Once positioned, I use a command point for the stratagem Deadly Descent, which allows them to fire now as if it were the shooting phase. The Seraphim are equipped with 4 Ministorum and Flamers, 4 bolt pistols and 1 plasma pistol, and fire everything on the Immortals, starting with the Hand Flamers. 2d6 hits. 4. How sad. Being Flamers, they hit automatically. Strength 4 and Toughness 5. I need 5 to wound. 3 wounds.
No penetration, so saving with 3+. 1 wound through.
4 bolt pistols at 3+. All hit. 5+ to wound as before. 2 wounds.
Saving again with 3. Obviously.
And finally, the plasma pistol at 3+. Perfect. With strength 7, a 3 is enough to wound. Yep, wounded.
6+ to save this one. 4 deaths. Awesome. Reanimation protocols at 5+. Oh, come on! You're not so immortal after all.
And now comes the real shooting phase. We start with the Celestian firing 4 shots on the Warden and 6 shots on the Immortals. Warden first, and that's 4 shots at 3+. 2 hit. 5+ to wound. Nope, not even 1. The remaining 6 shots on the Immortals at 3+. Just 3. Wounding at 5. And 1 wound.
Saving with 2 thanks to the cover. Easy.
The Seraphims fire again, but this time they split shots. The 2 Hand Flamers fire on the Immortals and the Plasma Pistol on the Warden. Since Andrea removed the closest models, the bolt pistols are out of range. Let's start with the 2d6 of the Flamers. 11 shots! That's huge! They hit automatically, so I need 5+ to wound. Only 4. For real?
Saving with 3+ this time. No! Rerolling with a command point. Yes! He's safe!
1 shot from the plasma pistol overcharged on the Warden. 3+ to hit. Okay, now 3+ to wound. Great!
-3 penetration, so saving with 6. 5! Close one! 2 wounds left.
The remaining Sister Superior is armed with a bolt pistol, so she can shoot in combat as well. A shot at 3+ against the Warriors. Strength 4 and Toughness 4, wound with 4. Wounded!
Saving with 4+. Nope. Reanimation protocol at 5+. And he's back.
Charge! The Canoness lifts her skirt to run better and charges the Warriors. She needs 5 to get there. Okay, she did it, and the first charge is successful. The Repentia Superior joins the fray and needs 3 to catch up with the Warriors. Ha! Perfect! Just what I needed. And she is also in combat. The Sisters follow the order to charge and need 5+. 11! The sisters are on fire! Get ready! The first to fight are those of the Sister Squad, who make 6 attacks at 4+ against the Warriors, for the Sister Superior's Chainsword. Thanks to the Canoness rule, I can reroll the ones. 5 hits, 5+ to wound. I reroll 1 dice for the Order's rule. 2 wounds.
Saving with 4+. Easy.
The Sister Superior swings her whip and makes 5 attacks at 3+. Rerolling 1 dice for the Order. 4 hit, 5+ to wound. Ah, okay. None. I hope the Canoness can do better. 4 attacks at 2+. Rerolling the 1 for the Order's rule. All hit, wounding at 4+ with the Power Sword. And to be sure, I use the Miracle Dice instead of an attack and roll the other dice. 3 wounds. Okay, better.
Saving with 6 for the -2 penetration. All dead. Resurrection Protocol at 5+. Just 1 comes back to life, meaning that these 2 are dead. The Warriors are angry and respawn with 7 attacks at 3+ on the squad with 1 sister remaining. All but 2, wounding with 3+. 3 wounds.
3 dice to save at 3+. I use a command point to reroll a dice. Perfect, all saved. The last remaining model from the other sister squad makes 2 attacks at 4+. Both hits. With the Power Sword, she wounds at 4. Rerolling 1 dice. Yeah, 2 wounds.
6+ to save. 1 save. Reanimation Protocol. Nah, he's dead. And then there were 6 Warriors left. Well, this turn wasn't as good as I thought. The Warriors failed to eliminate the Battle Squad, and I couldn't use my command protocol. The Immortals had failed 1 too many save rolls, and the reanimation protocols were terrible. At least, at the end of the turn, I gained 4 victory points thanks to the secondary objective Attrition, reaching 13 victory points total. In the next turn, I'll try to eliminate the Celestian Squad and all the Sisters in combat with the Warriors.
Guys, that fight was terrible. I understand that the Sisters are more useful in shooting phase, but that's too much. They had simple Warriors ahead and they failed to deal damage even though the Repentia Superior and the Canoness were in combat. At this point, it's quite clear that in the next round Andrea will make a massacre there. At least I can control Objective 1. I roll to decide the value of the Miracle Dice. 2. Not great.
In the third turn is active the Protocol of the Hungry Void, Directive 1. When a model in my units makes a melee attack, an unmodified wound roll of 6 increases the penetration by 1. Also, I gain 5 victory points for the control of Objective 3, reaching 8 in total. The Royal Warden regains 1 wound thanks to the ability Living Metal. The Overlord uses again his ability My Will Be Done on the Warriors, and then moves closer to the Repentia Superior to avoid failing the charge. The Scorpack and the Plasmacide move 10 inches toward the Canoness, while the Royal Warden and the Immortal move closer to the Celestian Squad. The Immortal begins the shooting phase, aiming his blaster towards the Celestian Squad and fires 2 shots at 3+. Hitting both, wounding with 3. Just 1 wound.
Saving at 4+? Or not saving? Another sister bites the dust. Not many are left.
Now the Warden on the same target. 4 shots at 3+. All hit! I can't afford to miss some shots, so I spend 1 command point for the stratagem Techno-Regular Targeting.
Oh, that's unfair. 4 more dice to save at 4+. 2 are saved, but 2 more Celestians leave us. The unit is now reduced to just 2 sisters.
Being less than 2 inches away, both the Immortal and the Warden charge the Celestian Squad automatically. The Plasmacide uses his ability Infused Madness on the Scorpack. On a 2+, the Scorpack gains +1 to the strength and attacks characteristics, but with a 1, he's destroyed. Rolling the d6. Nice! With his new buff, the Scorpack charges the Canoness, and with 8, he reaches her with no problems. The Overlord instead charges the Repentia Superior automatically. Let's start the combat phase with the big boy. The Scorpack makes 4 attacks at 3+ on the Canoness. All hit! The strength is double the toughness, so wounding with 2. Rerolling the 1 with a command point, and 1 again. 3 wounds.
The Canoness has a 4+ invulnerable save. In this case, however, it is totally useless. I understand. 2 wounds left to the Canoness.
Now the Overlord. 4 attacks at 2+ on the Repentia Superior. 3 hit, wounding with 2. All wound.
The Repentia Superior is in trouble. She can only defend herself with 6. Not even an attack defended. Having died one of my characters, I gain a Miracle Dice, whose value is 2. These miracle dice are getting better and better results. Her whip falls to the ground just a moment before her. Her last breath has been drawn. Bye!
And the Overlord consolidates on the Sister Squad.
The Sister Superior left alone attacks the warriors with her power sword, doing 2 attacks at 4+. Rerolling 1 dice for the Order's rule. Both hits, wounding at 4+. Nope, none.
The warriors try again to eliminate that sister with 6 attacks at 3. Hitting 4, wounding with 3. 3 wounds.
Come on, it's 3 dice at 3+, you can do it. No, you have failed 1 too many. The entire squad has now been eliminated.
And this warrior consolidates.
The Canoness seeks revenge for her wounds and attacks the Skorpek by making 4 hits at 2. I use a miracle dice, replacing one of the attacks, and roll the other dice. All hit, 5+ to wound. Not even 1. Luckily, thanks to general trait, I can reroll failed rolls. Only 1.
Saving with 6. Here it is. Great job.
And now the Sister Squad fighting the warriors and making 6 attacks at 4. Now that's quite a nice roll. Rerolling a dice for the Order. Oh, so good. Wounding at 5. Just 1.
Saving with 4. And 4 it is. Now the other side. The Immortal makes 2 attacks on the Celestians. Hitting both. Wounding with 3. Both wounded.
2 dice at 3+. Okay, I see the dice are leaving me. I'm sorry, you are leaving us too.
Warden's turn with 3 attacks at 3+. That's not a good roll, mate. Wounding with 3. Wounded.
Again a dice to save a 3+. At least I managed to save this one. And finally the last Celestian fights the Immortal, making 3 attacks at 3+. I reroll 1 dice. All 3 hit. She needs a 5 to wound. Only 1.
3+ to save. Oh, so close. He's safe.
The Celestian is the only unit that could fail the morale test, so I use a miracle dice to help her pass it automatically.
At the end of the turn, I gain 2 victory points for the secondary objective, Purge the Vermin, reaching 20 victory points.
At the start of the turn, I score 5 victory points for Objective 4 that I control. At the moment we are 14 to 20 for Andrea, but in my round I can reach him. The Celestian disengages from combat and moves away, always remaining within range of the objective. The Seraphim squad instead approach the objective and the enemies, ready to open fire on them. The Seraphim split attacks on enemies. The Plasma Pistol and the Bolt Pistols fire at the Warden, while the Flamers fire at the Immortal. Let's start with the Plasma Pistol. 1 shot overcharged at 3+. Hits! On strength 8, she wounds at 3. Oh yeah.
Saving with 6? That doesn't seem a 6 to me.
The 4 bolt pistols against the Warden at 3+. 3 hit, 5+ to wound. Rerolling 1 dice for the Order. 2 wounds.
Saving with 3 this time. Nope, just 1 is not enough. I believe he's dead.
The Flamers on the Immortal. 2d6 hits. Only 4. Flamers hit automatically, so roll to wound at 5+. Only 1 wound.
The Immortal saves with 3. 2 again? I guess he's dead too. Goodbye, my friends.
As Seraphim destroy enemy units, I get an additional miracle dice, and its value is 5, much better than before. The Sister Squad has pistols, so my models can fire in close combat and make 4 shots at 3+ against the warriors. Rerolling 1 dice. All hit. With strength 4, they wound at 4. 2 wounds.
Saving with 3+. Both saved.
The Canoness takes her plasma pistol and fires at the Skorpek, 1 shot overcharged at 2+. Yep, good job. Wounding at 3? Perfect, take this.
-3 penetration, so saving with 6. Nope. 2 wounds to the Skorpek, who's left with 1 wound. The Skorpek starts the fight phase trying to eliminate the Canoness with 3 attacks at 3+. Fortunately, he can reroll the ones. All hit! Now I spend 1 command point for the stratagem Techno-Regular Targeting and wound automatically.
I hope the Canoness invulnerability at 4+ works this time. Okay, I saved 2. The Canoness has the relic that reduces the wound suffered from attacks to 1, so she only suffers 1 wound and is still alive. The Sister's leader responds to the Skorpek by making 4 attacks at 2+ with the Power Sword. She can reroll the failed dice. 4 hits. With Toughness 5, she wounds at 5. Rerolling the 1, 3 wounds.
This will be hard. 3 dice at 6 to save. He's just dead. With his Carpack gone, the Plasmacyte is forced to leave the battlefield as well.
Another destroyed unit, another miracle dice for me. 5. Good miracle dice are finally coming.
The Overlord fights with the Battle Sister squad and makes 4 attacks at 2+. Just to hit, wounding with 2. Is this a joke?
The sister squad fights the warrior, making 6 attacks at 4. Ah, okay. Rerolling the ones thanks to the Canoness. Just 1 hit. So sad. Wounding of 5? Of course, miss.
The warriors respond on the sister squad with 6 attacks at 3+. 4 hit, wounding with 3. All hit.
The sisters have to save 4 wounds at 3+. Well, just 1 model is eliminated. I'd say it's okay.
Well, the second part of this turn was a disaster. The Overlord failed his attacks really bad and I lost 4 units. I'm still ahead in victory points, but I can't do much with just 2 units left. In the next turn, I absolutely need to eliminate the Canoness and the Battle Squad so that I can try to reach the Celestian Squad on Objective 1. I can still win, but I just need a little bit of luck with the dice.
Honestly, I think the turn went better than expected. I still have troops locked in combat and the Canoness is still alive. This allows me to move the Seraphim freely and keep control of the objectives I need. Objective 1 is under my control, and thanks to the secondary objective Defend the Shrine, I gained 3 victory points, reaching 17. I was ready to lose the game this turn, but I can still win. I have to move carefully the remaining troops, since they are very few. Miracle dice for this turn? A 3, that's fine, it's always useful.
In this turn is active the Protocol of the Vengeful Stars, which is totally useless because I can't shoot in this round. At least I gain 10 victory points for the control of objectives 2 and 3. The Overlord uses once again his ability My Will Be Done on the warriors, and we can quickly start the fighting phase.
The Canoness fights first and makes 4 attacks at 2+. Hitting them all, wounds at 4. Rerolling the failed dice? Nothing, 2 wounds.
Too much penetration, so 6+ invulnerable save. Unfortunately, that 6 is in a balance, so I have to reroll it. Missed both. Reanimation protocols. One warrior is safe, the other one is not. The Overlord tries to redeem himself and makes 4 attacks at 2+ on the sister squad. Hitting 2, wounding with 2. At least he wounded this time.
2 dice to save at 6. I use a command point to reroll a dice. Nope, 2 dead. Only the Sister Superior is left, but at least the unit is still alive. The Sister Superior fights back with the Chainsword, making 3 attacks at 4+ on the warriors. All attacks hit. She needs 5 to wound. Rerolling 1 dice. 2 wounds, nice.
No penetration, so saving with 4+. Both saved, good job. The warriors tries to split their attacks and make 2 attacks on the Canoness and 2 on the squad. Starting with the Canoness, 2 attacks at 2+. Both hit, wounding with 3. Just 1.
I need the Canoness to stay alive, so I use a miracle dice to defend. My general survives.
Now the attacks on the sister squad. 2 dice at 2+. 1 hit, wounding with 3. Wounded.
Only 1 dice at 3+. I was sure I would make 1. I felt it. The second sister squad is also eliminated.
At the end of my turn, I gain 2 victory points for the secondary objective Purge the Vermin.
In the 4th round, I gain 10 victory points for the 2 primary objectives I control, reaching 27. The sisters who sacrificed themselves in combat and the Canoness who is still alive allowed me to earn these points. The last remaining Celestian moves behind the radio tower and away from possible Necron charges. The Seraphim move alongside Objective 3 to finally take control of it. The Canoness decides to fall back from the fight to avoid dying this turn. She must try to survive as much as possible. At the end of the movement phase, the Celestian begins performing the action of the secondary objective Sacred Ground on Objective 1. My turn ends here, as all my models are too far away to shoot. At the end of the round, I gain 3 more victory points for controlling the Shrine, Objective 1, reaching 30 victory points.
At the end of the turn, I gain 4 points for the secondary objective Attrition. I don't think there is a need to comment on this round. Let's start round 5, shall we? At the start of the 5th turn, I gain 5 victory points for the control of Objective 2, reaching 41 victory points total. In the movement phase, the warriors translocate, and with 13 inches of movement, they manage to reach Objective 4 securing it. The Overlord instead walks closer to the Canoness. With no surprise, the Overlord charges the Canoness automatically. Now, he just needs one attack to go through. Don't fail me. 4 attacks at 2+. All hit. Wounding with 2. Rerolling with a common point. All wound.
Canones, you must survive. I use a miracle dice to save 1, then roll the rest of the dice at 4+. No! How could you fail them? The Canones is dead.
Finally! 6 victory points to me thanks to the secondary objective Slay the Warlord. Also, at the end of my turn, I gain the last 4 victory points from the secondary objective Purge the Vermin.
In my last turn, I scored 4 victory points for taking the action on Objective 1. Having started the game second, I can score victory points from primary objectives at the end of the turn. This means that I can still conquer the objectives. In the movement phase, the Seraphim squad advance, and it only takes 1 more inch for me to get in range of Objective 2 and take control of it. Round finished! By controlling 3 objectives, I can earn 15 victory points. Also, by controlling Objective 1, which is my shrine, I earn another 3 victory points at the end of the game, reaching 55 total victory points.
And at the end of the turn, I gain 4 more victory points thanks to the secondary objective Attrition, for a total of 55 victory points. It's a draw! Well, I must say that this game was really intense. The Overlord and the Immortals' performances were absolutely terrible in this match. They need to be punished. Maybe I can use them as spare parts for the Necrons that actually do their job. Jokes aside, if my units did manage to eliminate the Celestian squad and the sister battle squads, maybe I could have won this game. Anyway, I can't wait to play the rematch with these two armies.
Wow, what a match! I never expected to end up in a draw. Towards the middle of the game, I had the feeling that I was going to lose, but movement after movement, I was able to catch Andrea in victory points. If the Canones hadn't failed their saving rolls, I would have managed to win in the end. I'm really satisfied with how the match went. The sisters stood their ground even against a really tough opponent. I think this was one of the most intense matches ever played in this channel. And with this we conclude. If you like our content and want to help us grow the channel, we have an account on the platform Buy Me a Coffee where you can support us with donations. Any help you can give us to improve the channel is welcome. We are counting on you. The link is in the description.
And if you have come this far, write the word miracle in the comments to let us know. You are the best. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!